A human face! A human face! This isn't enough, Dan.
Dang it!
We're gonna need a bigger couch.
Okay.
Stay back.
Remember,
Welcome
guys,
back, ladies
always
and
get
gentlemen.
the essentials.
We've got our priorities straight
now.
So it's obviously been a while.
Yeah.
I have not seen Dan since
my beard was about this thing.
Yeah, it's been decades.
And the world was less on fire.
Less on fire. It was still on fire.
It was still quite on fire, but
Yes.
now it's like someone decided to dump a bunch of gasoline on it to put it out.
I feel like the Earth is a popcorn kernel that's just bursting in the microwave. So we wanted to do a video just kind of recapping what we've been watching because most of this channel is us talking about movies coming out in the theater.
Yeah.
And now
there's not really much theater going now, is
no
it?
theater going for a while. I think the next movie I'll see in the theater is probably like Tenet, if anything.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that was the thing.
That's still coming.
That's still coming.
They keep advertising it via Fortnite in-game events, though.
That's an advertising way.
Have you seen those?
No, I haven't.
It's like Chris Nolan does not even use like email, and
that just sounds kind of cancerous somehow. Like,
well, the idea of advertising Chris Nolan films through Fortnite is just so backwards to me because it's so not that
does
demographic.
Ninja take a break? Be like, remember to go see Tenet, guys. Or like,
it's just so.
You know, in between him complaining about it's not just a game.
I'm trying to think of something it would be parallel to. It would be like advertising the next Blumhouse film in a kid's Happy Meal. That's what it feels like to me. It's just like, be sure to watch Truth or Dare, kids. You know, that's how I feel Tenet advertised in Fortnite. But okay, what have you been watching during quarantine, Dan?
I've kind of been doing a good bit of rewatching things.
Okay, us too.
Yeah, because
we've been rewatching a lot of stuff we haven't seen in years.
So, okay, first up on my list, I've been catching up a little bit on Castlevania.
Okay.
Which is something I should just do a proper video on, and maybe in the future I will, but
in the pipeline.
It's in the pipeline because this show is just. It has no business being this good. It really doesn't. I mean,
I like shows like that.
It is like I'm not gonna. It's not like it's something where it's groundbreaking or it's like, oh my god, it makes you rethink things in a weird, cool perspective, like Inception or whatever, right?
I love that movie.
Yeah, what? It's just
10 years old now.
Yeah. Oh god. It's just a really. It's just a well-animated, well-acted, and just really simple story show. And
I appreciate those.
It's so good. Like, every frame of the show, I think, can be used as, like, Meatloaf's next heavy metal album cover. It's just... I mean, everywhere... This is a huge case for, hey, just because it's a cartoon doesn't mean it's for kids.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of blood and gore happening on this show, but it's just... It's so good. The guy who voices Dracula, Graham McTavish. Do you know who I'm talking about? Like,
I don't, but
he's been in a lot of stuff. You'd probably know his face, but
yeah, I need to see him, and I could.
He's a fantastic actor. Oh my god, he just nails it. And I'm like, dude, you don't have to be this good. This show doesn't have to be this good. Like, this is some kind of weird. I think it's called Gestalt or something like that. The sum of its parts is equal or more to what it really should equal.
I see. So execution is everything.
Execution really is everything.
Yeah. So the plot is not
groundbreaking. It's not groundbreaking. It's just, oh hey, Dracula's kind of mad that people killed his wife, so humans kind of have to get the axe. Trevor Belmont's like, hey, I have some things to say about that with a whip.
And the animation's really top notch.
The animation's extremely top notch.
Good.
I think because it was my first time watching season 3 a while back. Like,
how many seasons are there?
This just 3 so far.
Okay,
but
and it's still going.
It's still going.
All right.
Yes, but from what I saw, like of some of the more intense fights, like especially season 3, like season 3, first half. Exposition, world building. Second half, never-ending fight scenes. Like just like that. And there's a few, there's quite a few bits where it seems like the animation had to change a little bit, and it's still good, but it's a noticeable visual difference. If that makes sense. Like it's
so
nowhere near
contrast in there.
There's some contrast.
Yeah.
It might be distracting for some. It was a little bit for me, but when I thought to myself, the rest of the show is fairly static and well animated. So if they can't change some things a little bit to make it easier on themselves, I don't know. I don't want to fault them for that.
No,
it's good.
No. Try something else.
It's so good. If you like, like,
and what is that on?
It's on Netflix. If you
cool.
If you like more anime leaning things, especially like freaky horror stuff and just a classic Nintendo franchise. I mean, good God.
Yeah.
Go ahead and check it out because it's so awesome.
Castlevania.
So
do you want to go back and forth on our list? So you do
yeah,
one,
sure. I
one.
went one, you go one.
You're going in the artistic direction. I've gone full mainstream media. Because it's on Disney Plus, we watched Pirates of the Caribbean 1 through 4.
Hey. That's awesome. I need to rewatch those movies.
When was the last time you saw a Pirates of the Caribbean movie?
Oh God, it's been so freaking long.
Probably the 5th one. Did you see that?
I never saw the 5th one, but I wanted to, just because I was like, man, Javier Bardem's in this? This sounds awesome.
It's amazing. My favorite character in the series is by far Barbossa.
Yes.
Jeffrey Rush is a fantastic actor who was born to play a pirate.
He is excellent.
Literally, like in the first movie when Keira Knightley's trying to escape the pearl. He turns his head around the corner and goes, "Arr."
Yeah.
It's the most classic pirate noise.
I just love that whole, like, I'm curious, after killing me, what do you think was going to come next?
Oh, he's got some of the greatest one-liners.
He does.
Oh, you best believe ghost stories now. You're in one.
So
I got chills rewatching
that whole movie is so freaking awesome.
So it's true what they say. The first movie's the best.
Oh, yes.
That doesn't... After rewatching
that doesn't change.
No one's opinion was changed on that.
No.
The first one was very playful, very, like...
It was a fun movie.
Very wide-ranging, because you could argue, especially when I watched it as a kid, the night sequences of the... That was pretty scary.
Oh,
it was in the horror genre.
It had like everything from, a little bit of romance, a little bit of action, swordplay.
It's one of the few movies that, like, really did a great job capturing the essence of a theme park ride.
Yes!
Because it's based off of a theme park ride. And they were able to just recapture that in the form of a film. But like you said, like this, similar to Castlevania, the script is not...
It's not groundbreaking. No, it's just...
It's simple, but the execution, they nailed it.
It really is.
I can't say the same about Dead Man's Chest or At World's End. Which,
those ones got way off the rails.
Yeah, I think... The thing is, I kind of see them the same way I see Jurassic Park movies, which is...
that's fair.
None of them are that bad. They're still watchable.
But when you have it...
They're just...
It's
bumpy.
Yeah.
There's
like nothing really compares to the first Jurassic Park the same way as Jurassic Park.
But you can still watch 2 and 3.
Oh yeah.
Like on a Saturday. Like that's the thing I've discovered is last time I watched these Pirates of the Caribbean movies, we were in the theater walking into these big stadiums and we're paying, $10 for a small water. And when you're spending all this money like it's an event and all your attention is on the big
it's
screen.
suddenly more grandiose when you're watching.
Yeah, so when the movie or the plot doesn't make sense and you have questions, you're kind of like, what are we doing? But when you're at home and you're kind of doing whatever you want and you're just like, let's put on this movie.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of plot holes and there's some things that don't make sense, but the what I will give credit for 2 and 3 is the soundtrack.
Oh yes.
It's fantastic. The Kraken theme and how Hans Zimmer handed Davy Jones playing the organ.
Who played Davy Jones again? Do you remember?
I forget the actor's name, but I know his face.
He was pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's a solid actor. I'll put it up.
That whole design was just freaking...
That CG held up incredibly well.
That was cool.
I rewatching it in 2020, seeing the detail on Davy Jones' face, and what's impressive is he's even from a distance when he's in the background.
Oh yeah.
Just the detail they had to put into his tentacles and the sea crew, with all the barnacles.
They all have barnacles and like starfish patterns and stuff.
There's a few bad shots, but for the most part, all that CG
no one can really fault
well.
the visuals on those movies.
No, the script,
it's got more holes in it than Swiss cheese that's been laden with buckshot. But
there's the execution, I will say, was fairly well done. The production value of the ships and the cannon fire, and
it's so cool.
I'm not in love with how they treated the characters. It feels like they couldn't decide who was friends and who was enemies.
Yeah.
Everyone just kept fighting with each other. But Jeffrey Rush,
always good.
Always good. And the fourth one, I will say, was surprisingly decent. What I think I remember about At World's End was Disney, when producing it, was like, okay, we have the biggest franchise ever, because this was pre-Avengers at the beginning of the franchise.
Yeah.
Avengers didn't come out until after At World's End, so yeah, they didn't really.
That's right.
They didn't really have the MCU going yet, but when At World's End was coming out, they threw everything at it. I think the budget was like $300 million.
It was a huge deal. I remember.
The CG, I felt like they were taking the movies too seriously. There were so many slow-mo shots. There were so many, like, the East India Trading Company is going to take Davy Jones' heart, which somehow pumps blood but beats all on its own. I don't ask questions, I guess. It's kind of weird.
Maybe
but
it's like the Kali mod that, like...
Yeah. Its heart is still beating.
Yeah.
I like how everyone in movies just assumes that works. Like, the heart keeps beating when you remove... Everyone's like, oh, yeah. That's how it works.
I'm not gonna say things I've seen.
Okay, but what I liked about the fourth one on Stranger Tides was it felt like Disney going back to basics.
Yeah,
they were like,
no, I remember distinctly going from like 2 and 3 and then watching on Stranger Tides. I was like, this was actually pretty freaking awesome.
Because it turned Jack Sparrow and Barbossa, who was in it, thank God. It turned it into more of like it felt more like a
fun adventure.
A TV episode. It's like, okay, not every single movie has to be end of the freaking world.
Yeah.
It was like just a fun little adventure that Jack Sparrow's on, and the budget I think was half of At World's End.
It kind of reminds me like of how I feel about like. We're not going to talk about Crystal Skull, but it makes me think of like going from Raiders to Temple of Doom to Last Crusade. And Temple of Doom, like in it of itself, is not a bad movie.
No,
it's just I think it's
kind of the weaker of.
I was going to say it's weaker of that original 3. Yeah.
Did you know Temple of Doom is a prequel?
Yes.
A lot of people. Nowhere in the movie do they make that very clear.
I think they say it at the beginning, don't they? Isn't it like
they might have, but
I think they say it's like
1930.
I was like, this is freaking weird. But
I just remember watching it when I was little and not realizing it was a prequel. But the fourth one, after watching it, you could have almost believed it was a prequel with how little involvement it has. There's no reference of Davy Jones.
No.
There's no Will. There's no Elizabeth, which is probably why the budget was cut in half, because they didn't have to pay Keira Knightley or Orlando Bloom. They were like, cool, we just saved $150 million.
Yay!
But the whole Blackbeard story arc...
Yes! Oh god, who plays him? I know his name.
I know his face, but I blank on his name.
It's Winston from John Wick. God.
Oh, right, that's who it is.
Oh.
I know him from the dad of Hot Rod.
Yes!
He beats up Andy Samberg numerous times.
Never fight with a man that's been in the chemical fire.
Ultimate punch.
No, I freaking... No, he's an excellent actor.
But that movie had the right amount of, production value and the mermaids, and they also ended it with Jack Sparrow outwitting the villain, which I always love when you outwit instead of outperform, outstrength. Because that's what it felt like 3 and 2 was. It was like, okay, just sword fight Davy Jones.
It almost kind of goes back to like the first one, because I mean, it's been so long since I remember seeing it, but Jack Sparrow outwitted Barbossa at least once or twice, right?
Yeah, that was the beauty of the first movie, was the whole, like, outlive the curse.
Yeah.
And then when you go out and fight and I return the medallion, then they're all dead. Yeah. It was like a perfect
I just
genius
love that.
move.
I just couldn't resist, mate. Yeah. Like, that's so freaking awesome.
It's a great one-liner. And then in this one, they're at the Fountain of Youth. Blackbeard wants to drink, and he knows that his daughter will save him no matter what. So he gives them the wrong cups, but he doesn't tell him. And I was like,
or was it that one?
That was smart. Afterwards, he's like, "Daughter, drink it for me," and he finally drinks it, and they both drink it. And Jack's like,
"Wait,
did I say that one had the mermaid's tear?" And it was just a nice little clever moment. Obviously, not as great as the first, but still, it was I thought it's one of the few franchises that actually, in my opinion, picked up a bit of steam after the first 3. Normally, it's like the first 3 and then the rest suck.
Yes.
But I haven't seen we didn't rewatch the 5th one because it's not on the show yet. But I remember seeing that in the theater and somewhat liking it. I had similar opinions to the 4th one. But
nice.
So yeah, that's mine.
Next one on my list. That you were really excited when I mentioned it. I started watching Better Call Saul on Netflix.
Thank you.
Yes. I was just like, yeah, all right, cool. Let's see what this is about.
I love this show.
I want to make. Oh, that's not.
How many seasons did you get through?
I just started season 4 basically. I think I'm only like 4 episodes in.
I think we finished 4.
Yeah, but so like full disclosure, it took me ages to finally finish Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I remember.
Because I was like, I don't know what happened. Maybe I just like hit it too much, and I was like, I need to take a break.
Life
and I
happened.
just because I got to like the midway point of season 5 just as Hank finds out.
Right.
And then I was
that's
like,
a big moment.
Yeah, that's a great moment to just leave yourself on.
Closing the garage door.
Yeah, finished it. Came back, finished it. I was impressed. Watched El Camino. I was impressed more. Robert Frost. Was fantastic.
I was so happy about that movie existing.
I loved that whole scene.
Uh-huh.
That whole scene was amazing. I just love how like. One thing I was kind of reading up about it because I was like, man, I forgot about a lot of stuff, and I was reading just about Pinkman because I was like, wasn't he like a flunk out student in high school? But I'm like, no, he's smart.
Uh-huh.
It just happens that sometimes he's not always in the right.
Right.
Like that whole bit where he's going off on what's his name, Ed Galbraith, and he's just like, why would you hang up on a 911 call? They tell you to keep on it so that in case there's anything else going on, and just like disseminating all that stuff. And I'm like, he's not wrong though.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it just turns out he was, because I'm guessing Galbraith knows him. But I was like, that whole scene was just beautiful. Yeah,
the way they handled the cinematography and the whole plot of re-meeting the guy that buys you a new life.
Yes.
I thought Vince Gilligan, after seeing Better Call Saul and El Camino, he's a master of
he's a great writer.
Epilogue.
Yes.
Because I thought it would sound kind of weird. It sounded like at first a little bit of a cash grab to do like a 2-hour movie that takes place after Breaking Bad.
It's like a genuinely good explanation.
Yeah, but it's a good story, and it ties up loose ends that the show didn't get to cover because obviously AMC was like, this is it, season 5, and you're done.
Yeah. And then Netflix was like, hey.
You like money, right?
It's just like, like that one gif of Burton Guster from Psych just sliding in, just like,
right.
Hello.
But Netflix was like, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And thankfully made a really solid epilogue movie.
Yeah, and Better Call Saul is just surprisingly well done. Like,
oh, I know. I love him writing the line. It feels like that's the running theme, is writing the line between good and bad. Because what that show dives into better than any other show, which kind of was touched on in Breaking Bad, but I think what gives Better Call Saul its own style is like showing how often Saul is able to do the right thing that's not legal, or do the wrong thing that is legal.
Yes.
And I like that balance.
I love seeing, like, because I can barely remember a lot of stuff about Saul specifically in Breaking Bad. I just remember thinking to myself, man, this is like, I was like, this is an interesting guy. Bob Odenkirk, he's a good actor. He really knocks it out of the park.
Very unappreciated.
He really is.
I think he doesn't get enough roles in movies.
Criminally underrated.
Yeah, he's a great actor. He auditioned for Michael Scott. I don't know if you know that. There's footage of him.
Oh my god, that makes so much sense.
Well, they brought him in season 9 because he auditioned for Michael Scott. Obviously, he didn't get it, but by the end of the show, they needed someone for Pam to run into that reminds her of Michael Scott. So they got Bob on, and he just kind of did the Michael. And I was like, Steve Carell was great, but if they would have chosen Bob, I think it totally would have worked. He could have done it. I think my favorite part, the thing I would look forward to most, besides like any scene with Mike Ehrmantraut, because he was one of my favorite characters in Breaking Bad. Just because I'm like, here's a guy who's just like, he's a competent professional. He's smart. Like that whole scene where he knows someone is in his house. Oh, I love that. Yeah, and he's just like, how professional he is. He's just like. Turns the TV on and then backs into the next room. Just like, all right, I know you're in there, but I'm not gonna just come out and say it. So I learned a lot from this show. I know, right? The whole floor mat trick. Yeah. Where he puts the paper underneath. It's brilliant. I was watching it like, oh, that's smart. I should try that. I think the thing I like the most is how each season just starts off with Saul, Bob, or whatever his name is now, Gene, I think, just in that strip mall working at the Cinnabon, and how like his life is upended, and I'm like, I can't wait to see how that ties in. I know, I love it. Yeah, it's just, I'm secretly hoping, this is speculation on my part, but I'm secretly hoping that those little Cinnabon teasers ties into a follow-up show that takes place after Breaking Bad, but still involves some of the original
Yes.
I don't know.
It's really interesting.
Basically, I don't want Vince Gilligan to stop building on this universe.
I found out that... So I might need to watch Deadwood now, because I believe he hadn't, like, Vince Gilligan actually made that show as well.
Oh, really?
And I found out that Deadwood and Breaking Bad and all that take place in the same universe.
Huh.
And I was like...
Do they probably don't share that many characters.
Oh, hell no, because Deadwood takes place in, like, 1880 something.
Okay, I didn't know that, so that explains
No, yeah.
why.
Well, like, they're both Westerns, definitely. And so, like, you know, you got...
Albuquerque.
I'm pretty sure Deadwood is more classic, gritty neo-Western, whatever you want to call that. And you got Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad are more like, you know, crime drama, basically, but still with a huge Western aesthetic. I mean, god dang.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, the world building there, and at the same time, the struggles Saul goes through.
Yes.
With his brother.
It's heartbreaking. It really is.
Yeah, I thought that was really like organic. At first, I think people were really hesitant. It was one of the first videos on this channel was us talking about Better Call Saul, and it felt like a lot of people were going, "Oh, really? They're doing another one of those shows?
Yeah.
Why are they doing a spin-off show?" But now it feels like the following is just as big.
Oh yeah.
Because as the show went on, the original cast kept coming back.
Well, what I like about it most is that you could just watch it, and I don't think you even really need... You could probably watch it before Breaking Bad.
I think you could.
No context, and just be like...
I think you appreciate it more after Breaking Bad.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it stands on its own. You don't need to see the original show. But they go into so many details that I didn't even think of. Like, they're tying up loose ends everyone forgot about. Like, how did they build the underground drug lab? Let's explore that.
I'm thinking of like an alternate world where J.J. Abrams started Lost, but Vince Gilligan finished it.
Oh,
dude!
I would have loved to have seen.
Think about that one for a second.
That would be fantastic. For the record, I'm happy with how they ended Lost.
Okay,
but still, Vince Gilligan knows how to handle characters and plot lines very well. I love the whole side story of them building the underground lab.
Yes,
like the detail they went into of like, okay, so in order to do this, we're gonna have to import guys from Germany.
Yes.
And they can't go outside, so we're going to need a big facility for them to stay in.
Yep.
Okay, now they're getting cabin fever. Okay, now they need to reinforce the concrete structure. It's like, Vince, no one was really that upset.
He's like, yes, they were! or he's just like, I was upset!
Exactly.
People must know.
I felt like that was most of the plot line. Was in Breaking Bad, they were like, oh, by the way, Gus has a underground drug lab they can make meth in. And the audience was like, okay.
Vince is the level of detail I aspire to in my own writing.
Yes.
Maybe not quite that big, but just enough. Like if I could get like a quarter of that, I'll be like, good.
I just can't wait to see like
just how it ends.
Yeah, what happens to Kim?
Right?
Wexler, because Miss Wexler is not in the original show. Obviously, she's not in El Camino. And yet she's such a pivotal role in this movie.
She is.
I have a feeling like she's either gonna die or take off, or something major's gonna happen.
Well, I mean, Breaking Bad still takes place in New Mexico, right? So like Saul didn't border hop, right?
No, I don't think so. No, this is all in Albuquerque.
That's what I was thinking about, because I was like, wait, okay, so
all I want is a tiny Walter White cameo.
Just a tiny one.
Like he runs into him at a supermarket or something.
Like he doesn't have to talk to Saul.
No.
Or he doesn't have to even have a speaking appearance. Just be like, what's up?
Yeah, you could just walk by him like he's grabbing something at the grocery store.
I would laugh so hard if, like, you know, he goes through a car wash and there's Walt just doing his thing, like looking depressed as hell.
Yeah. Bryan Cranston said he'd be down.
Oh, I'm sure
he's directed some stuff too.
So
I think they asked him if he'd want to direct an episode of Better Call. But yeah, I love the way he's handled the show. I can't wait to watch more.
It's great.
Okay.
All right, next one.
So we've been watching. Louise likes watching a lot of horror movies.
Yes.
Which I grew up not watching that many, and we've watched a lot of bad ones. One of which was Our House, which I only wrote on this list because it was recent. It was labeled as a horror genre.
Our House.
That's exactly.
It's a terrifying nightmare. Our House.
That's exactly what I was
It's
saying.
shoddily produced now.
This might be a Netflix original. It gave off that vibe, but I didn't quite catch it.
Okay.
It was like a I'm pretty sure it was not in theaters, and it felt exactly like Stranger Things. It feels like Netflix is repackaging. They're like, Stranger Things was good, how do we do that again?
Yeah.
You know, so they come up with these different... I saw another show about someone who's neglected and they run away and they're off on their own and then they start moving things with their mind.
I know what you're talking about. I was just going to say, I can't remember what that show is called. But, oh, This Is Not Okay.
That's what it was.
That's what it is.
We saw the trailer for it and I was like, so Stranger Things.
Yeah, Stranger Things, but it's only focused on 11 and without the complexity.
And End of the Fricking World is what it was. It was a merging of End of the Fricking World, which is not fricking, but YouTube be nice. We merged End of the Fricking World with Stranger Things into one show, and it was This Is Not Okay. And I was like, I feel like I've already seen the show. I don't even need to watch it.
Yeah, right.
But Our House was about a guy who... This is why it frustrated me, for one. I'm not an engineer. I'm very casually interested in electric vehicles, so I know a little bit.
Yeah.
But he was apparently working on a breakthrough in technology that would allow you to transmit power over the air. And
okay, so he's trying to pull a Tesla.
people all say that's... I mean, it's possible. You just all get cancer. That's the problem. But they didn't want to address that.
Osteosarcoma? I don't have to plug my iPhone into the wall. Screw you, Olna. I'm not walking over there.
We're all gonna die anyway, so why not charge my phone from across the room? But so he turns on this little spinning generator thing, and basically he's trying to get power to go across the air, but instead activates ghosts in their house. And the dead start coming back to life.
Oh boy!
And
that escalated quickly.
Yeah, it was like, I guess those two fields overlap pretty easily. You know, we were trying to tap in. What I'm also noticing is we watched it. I'm gonna bunch these into one because they were both pretty bad. This movie called The Darkness, and it starred Kevin Bacon. And I was like, oh Kevin,
oh God,
you've fallen far from Apollo 13. Houston, we have a problem. Kevin Bacon can't get a good movie. But,
it should say something when the best thing he's acted in is that one commercial where he's like, I've seen every Kevin Bacon movie. You know, my wife says if I keep watching Kevin Bacon movies, I'm going to turn into Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, that's the best thing he's done recently.
I was going to say, and that was like, what? I think I might have been in high school still when that was out.
Oh, wow. So it has been a while.
I'm old.
But the running theme with both these bad movies was when something goes wrong, people go to Google and type in their symptoms of the scary house. And Google obviously says, oh yeah, this kind of stuff happens all the time. So they start searching in like, you know, electricity, does that cause haunted house? Yes, power, because when you die there's energy.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna write a horror movie where some dude, because I keep seeing this, I hate seeing it, like, oh, we found this really affordable house. Like, no one ever finds out about the murder fest that happened before they moved in. Right. It's only after. I want someone who's, like, willingly goes into the murder house. Because they're like, all right, listen, it's cheap. We can't afford anything else. It's got good floor space. We need this. And then they have to deal with the repercussions of it. Like, that's a comedy right there.
I was going to say, you have a really genius comedy on your hands.
I do.
Maybe this already exists.
I mean, but Beetlejuice is kind of already has all this stuff for it.
Kind of the idea of just a cheapskate family.
Yes!
That's so sick of overpriced rent and housing that when there's haunted stuff...
They find the cheapest haunted house in the middle of flyover country.
Like the kid is like, Mom, there's a monster in my closet. It's like...
The monster's like, we don't want you here either! Get out!
And the mom's like... Well, honey, we can't afford anything better, so the monster's just gonna have to stay there.
Yes! Oh my God, we might have to write this out.
This could make a great movie.
This would be an amazing movie.
Horror comedy, but that's what I want because Our House was just. It felt like. It felt like little kids were writing it. You know the thing where. The Darkness was similar, where it was like one of the kids is autistic. Oh, and because of that, he has close ties with the he can communicate.
We're not mediums. Stop using us like we are.
Do you see anything in the room right now, Dan?
Yes, my fury and rage.
That's what the
I'm not your freaking... oh, God, what is it? I'm not your proton pack. Shut up.
I'm not your proton pack. Yeah, it just felt like... a lot of the stereotypes at the same time. But
God.
they go out into the wilderness, and because the kid takes some rocks from some old Navajo Indians, then the whole evil spirits from the Indians come to haunt the house. And
God dang it.
there were some interesting ideas in Our House, but
They just
overall,
couldn't make it work.
it wasn't scary. It actually felt more like a sci-fi movie than anything, because it was dealing with interdimensional and, you know, the little kids walking in the portal, and they go to the alternate.
You're making me think a lot of Event Horizon right now, and that's not a good thing. Like, I think there's a good way you could have done that movie, but I'm just like, okay.
They lifted like the soundtrack from Stranger Things. I swear to God, it was the exact same music.
Did it take place in the 80s?
No, but it could have. There wasn't, other than like smartphones.
Okay.
It pretty much could have taken place.
I feel like we take for granted little details like that. Like, one of the main reasons I love like Pushing Daisies so much, I don't know when it takes place.
Yeah.
It came out.
It just kind of happens.
It came out between 07 and 09.
Yeah.
It has a fairly like 50s, 60s aesthetic. There's some modern references.
Okay.
Like, they talk about the internet tangentially. And
Okay.
the main character says at one point in a weird sword fight, he wanted to be a Jedi. And I'm like, okay.
So
we're somewhere in there, but it never just says.
It's kind of a delicate balance if you can get a movie to take place,
Exactly.
a show without really a time period.
We need to appreciate that more.
Smartphones are the biggest spoiler because they've changed the most over the past 20 years. So
This actually leads into my next thing.
Okay, let's go.
So, I think I already talked about watching The Umbrella Academy on here.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I think we did.
But I rewatched it because season 2 is supposed to come out in July. I think it was already pretty much all filmed before COVID happened.
Yeah.
But I actually read the comics because I was like, I gotta know, because the guy who made it, Gerard Way, you know, he was the lead singer of My Chemical Romance, and I'm just over here like, what is inside this guy's brain? I like it.
What's inside his brain?
And something I didn't realize, because like, you know, they make it known it takes place in 2019, but there's nary, like, you don't see laptops and smartphones everywhere.
Okay.
It's heavily implied to be like some kind of alternate retro reality, basically. Like, one of the principal characters of the show, all his computers are like those 1950s tape wheel things, and there's there's a bunch of outdated tech. And
Computer.
I didn't realize until reading about it, going for a second watch, I was like, there are no cell phones. That is so...
Now it's kind of odd to not see them.
It's refreshing.
Yeah.
It really is. And that show's all over the place.
Definitely makes it more timeless.
It does. And it's... I would say it's a good show. I could definitely see the case for it just being like, it's okay. But I just love seeing a bunch of weird stuff slapped together. That's who I am. I'm like, give me it all, man. Like, there's weird time travel stuff happening. There's a dysfunctional family. There's superpowers. I'm about it.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack is so freaking good.
Oh, cool.
I mean,
I love a show with a good soundtrack.
It's just a good blend of like 70s and some 80s and all kinds of good stuff, man.
Soundtrack to me is like frosting on cake. It's like
if you
can get that right, then you'll be happy, even if the movie kind of sucks.
Like, no one's gonna. I don't think anybody remembers anything the most besides the soundtrack from like the Guardians movies, right? And maybe some of the characters, but the soundtrack seems to take first place in my mind.
Well, sometimes some of those songs, I'll hear them, I just instantly think of Guardians.
Yeah, exactly. But no, like, the Umbrella Academy is just... They could have definitely tightened up a little bit on the writing.
Okay.
Like, there's a lot of details hanging in the air right now, but everything as it stands, I'm like, no, it's good. All the actors clearly know who they're supposed to be.
Good
cast. It's a great cast. I love the guy who plays, what's his name? I think it's Aiden Gallagher or something like that. He plays number 5, who is someone who, like, his superpower is being able to move, like, he can basically teleport.
Oh, wow.
And at one point early on, this isn't a spoiler, by the way, he is arguing with his adoptive dad by saying, hey, I want to time travel. His dad's like, no, that's dangerous. Don't do it. So he does it because he's a teenager and he knows everything.
Yeah.
And he gets stuck in, like, in a post-apocalyptic world.
Oh, shoot.
And he's stuck there until he's like 60-something.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, no. One thing leads to another. He comes back in time to where, you know, where the events of the show takes place.
Yeah.
Except when he comes back, he de-ages back to the age that when he left.
Oh.
So this kid is...
time traveled through him.
Well, he's a 13, 14-year-old body with the mind of a fully fledged psychotic adult that has had no one to talk to for about 4 decades.
That's
and
fascinating.
every bit of sass that goes with it, and he is fantastic.
Okay.
Like, I honestly forget this is a kid playing him, because I'm like, no, you sound like someone who has seen some crazy stuff. You're awesome at it.
So the writing is really compatible.
The writing is extremely compatible, yeah.
Good. Okay.
And it's just, I don't know where season 2 is gonna go. Like, I read through the comic that precede, because like the first season is like the first 2 volumes, and each volume has like a separation of several years, and they've only gotten to 3. And I'm like, what are you gonna do next? Because I'm kind of terrified right now, Gerard. But it's a.
I like it when you don't know what's gonna happen.
Oh my god! Like,
that's a good note to
It's
end on.
original.
Yeah.
I'll give it that much.
Yeah.
I can't guess what's gonna happen next, because who lad.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
It's weird to think about, like, the comic is actually much more surreal.
Oh really?
Because the show gets pretty freaking weird.
Yeah, but the comic even more so.
Like,
Comics are known for that.
comics are definitely known for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, there's one character who heads this time travel agency thing.
Okay.
In the show, she's played by Kate Walsh from, like, Private Practice and everything. And she nails it. Like, I fully believe she's this crazy domineering lady who's, like, you know, playful and all that, like a femme fatale.
Yeah, yeah.
In the comic, it's a fish with a robotic body, a goldfish, and the head is a tank. It's...
Reminds me of that character from Chicken Little.
Yes! Oh my god, yes!
With the fish with the tank. That's great.
But yes, I just had to leave the whole, like, not knowing what time frame it takes place in. I had to get that out, like, right off the bat.
That's cool.
Good stuff. It's on Netflix. Go watch it before season 2 comes out.
Okay, we gotta try that one.
It's so good.
Okay. I think I heard you say you rewatched this too, but we both rewatched Avatar.
Yes!
The Blue Monkey one, not the Last Airbender.
Yes.
And how did you feel about how recently did you rewatch it?
I think I finished it like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, for us it was like a month or 2 ago. It was pretty recent.
It still holds up.
I will say, yeah, in hindsight, I think it's pretty overrated, but the animation
has
held up fairly well.
There's definitely okay. This is just because I was watching, like, I've watched it a couple times now. This is probably my 3rd or 4th time rewatching it.
Okay. Yeah, probably me too.
And I remember specifically watching, I think it was ER, his video where he was talking about, like, the Legend of Korra and stuff like that. And he was talking about how at the finale there, where he's fighting Ozai, that whole going back to the Avatar state and everything was just kind of... It really was just like, you know, wave of the hand, Deus Ex Machina stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it in the middle of that fight, because I was like, okay, hear me out. I'm talking to my fiance here, right?
Right.
I'm just like, okay, now I want to understand something. These guys clearly were great writers, right? And I'm thinking about, I'm like, okay, that whole scene where, you know, the chakra gets unblocked and he's fighting beneath the palace in Ba Sing Se, and he's got the full Avatar state. Then Azula kills him, and, you know, he gets revived, like, you know, lightning bolt, you're dead.
Yeah.
Comes back to life, and then he's, you know, there's a whole freaking thing. They're like, oh god, the Avatar state, it's been destroyed. Aang's gonna be the last one. And Aang's not able to activate that state again for the rest of season 3 until, like, the scar where the lightning bolt entered just, like, gets hit with a rock that's kind of shaped the same way. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, wouldn't it have made more sense, just saying, if, like, in the middle of that fight, Ozai had somehow landed a shot in the same exact spot? Like, maybe, like, that chakra just attracts more blows because, hey, that's how chi and chakra works. Energy is attracted to a certain point on the human body. Then all of a sudden, psst, oh, hey, I have the Avatar state again. Like, Aang maybe has a heart murmur for about 2 seconds. Then all of a sudden he's like, hey, superpowers. Like Deadpool and Deadpool 2 and stuff when the collar comes off. And I was just like the entire time, besides maybe a couple episodes that are definitely skippable. Like, I don't think anybody really likes watching The Canyon or... The Footloose episode's kind of funny, but it's really largely... It doesn't have anything to do with the plot. Oh,
Sorry.
Okay.
Robots.
But the whole show is just so tightly written. Like, I can't help but think, I was like, why didn't they go with that? Otherwise, no complaints. It's
Yeah.
still fantastic. I can't
Yeah.
think of nary a thing wrong with it.
I now noticed from the beginning that I was referring to James Cameron's Avatar, and you were referring to The Last Airbender. So we didn't rewatch Avatar. I was listening for a while, and I was like, I don't remember this part.
No, I hate Avatar. I hate that movie. I'm not gonna rewatch it. I already wasted 3 hours of my life on it. No, when you said the blue monkey, I was like, the blue spirit? What the hell is he talking about?
Oh god, we gotta be more specific with our blue references.
I was like, I don't remember a blue monkey.
No, the Last Airbender is a great show, though.
It's a great show.
Louise loved it growing up too.
Yes, agreed.
She watched it a lot, but no, what I was saying was the animation from the 2009 movie
Yeah.
still holds up, but the script is crap.
Oh yeah, it's just Fern Gully but live action.
Pretty much.
I just love that. I was thinking, now that you say it, I remember that one episode from South Park where they were just making fun of it by saying Cartman was, killing the Smurfs. I was like, oh my god, they killed the Smurfs, James Cameron. Why?
I can't believe it's been 11 years and they're still working on the second one.
Why? What
and
else?
It's still being delayed. They're still pushing it back further.
What is to be said?
I'm sure the pandemic isn't helping. Now it's been pushed back to 2030.
Wow, I'm actually kind of glad the pandemic happened. Now. I don't have to deal with people be like, oh, the Navi. Like, shut up.
I don't know where they can go with that movie either.
Where? Like, I've seen some of the people.
The humans left.
Some of the people I follow on Twitter have talked about the world building. I'm like, okay, that's interesting, but I still can't be invested in the movie.
I think
It's
Nostalgia
boring.
Critic brought up some great points on. He did an Avatar review recently and said it's actually not great world building because it feels like every Navi is just painted slightly differently in different parts of the world, and there's just rainbow animals, things that look like from under the ocean are now above the ocean.
Yeah.
And that's about it because he made some points about characters helping with world building.
Okay.
And that the characters for Avatar were fairly man, alien.
Alien.
That's
yes.
it.
Okay.
And the general is tree bad, cut down tree, make money, get mineral, and
Right.
the characters were very one-dimensional. There wasn't much depth other than, hey guys, the blue monkeys aren't that bad. Let's be nice to them,
Yeah.
So I don't know where they're gonna go.
It's
with
like
that.
no one ever heard the phrase, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar, basically.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's a good point.
Giovanni Ribisi, maybe instead of basically desecrating their spiritual holy land, why don't we try and reason with them? Like we have with our societies in the past.
They're just trees.
They're just trees. Trees I can plug my freaking brain into.
Yeah. But yes, The Last Airbender, a
Yes.
much better piece of content. Watch that instead of the James Cameron
Yes.
Avatar.
I'm sorry, I should have specified.
That's okay. I thought it was funnier for me to just figure it out later. Do I say anything?
You're
or-
like, full disclosure,
That is a good show, though.
it's a great show.
I will admit.
Yes.
Let's never think of the M. Night Shyamalan
No.
movie ever again. I love how the beginning of that movie starts with Chapter 1, water. They thought there was going to be more.
There's the one thing I could actually give that movie credit to. One thing, it's only predicated on the fact that it would, if it had a sequel, this would have been actually a good idea.
Oh, okay.
Because The Last Airbender takes place over the course of a year, basically, and I know Aang's the Avatar.
Yeah.
He's gonna have more of an affinity for figuring stuff out. He demonstrates that by water bending like that.
Yeah.
But it makes more logistical sense to me to be like, okay, so if they kept going with the M. Night movies, which I'm so glad they didn't.
Yeah, there's a good reason.
There's a great reason for that. Then it would have been each movie a year passes, so there's more time for him to actually master each element. And,
Okay.
And that would have been. I feel like you could learn more inside of a year than you can a literal seasonal change.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, hey, it's still a great show.
It could have been something.
Yes.
But no. I'm glad it is not something now.
It's not something. That's a good thing.
I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I referenced it earlier. We watched season 1 and 2 of End of the Frickin' World.
I need to. I keep forgetting it exists, but it sounds like I would enjoy it.
It's very R-rated, but
oh yes,
yeah, it's an interesting show. They kind of dive in with a very playful attitude of basically a psychopath. I don't know if you know the plot.
I just know that it's like, isn't it okay? I just barely remember from the like little trailer.
It's a good trailer.
But isn't it like a guy wants to kill this girl and she's in love with him?
Yeah,
right.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
Is as there is a season 2, I think that's kind of a spoiler.
Yeah.
But basically, this girl is looking to be kind of adventurous, and she's fed up with the establishment. And she just wants to run off with this guy.
F
and the
man,
guy has had a terrible life, and his mom passed away, and he's kind of messed up. And he's like, I think I want to kill somebody.
Yeah.
I think I might just become a murderer. And so the whole show is basically him like on the edge of like, I like her or I'm gonna kill her, and I can't decide. So there's some comedy that comes along.
You ever hear the song "I Can't Decide" by Scissor Sisters?
No, but that would go perfect.
It's literally just like a serial killer venting his feelings to his victim. It's hilarious.
Well, it's very bingeable.
I'm sure it is.
It flows almost more like a movie than a show because the episodes are about 20 minutes each.
Oh.
And there's only 8 episodes in the first season.
Okay.
So it's really not a big commitment to watch. I think we watched the whole first season in one sitting. And same thing with season 2. It's like 8 20-minute episodes. And I will say the first season, do you mind if I spoil it? We're near the end of the video. You've probably seen it if you haven't. Skip this if you want to save it. The end of the first season I thought was really disappointing.
Okay.
Because essentially he decides, okay, I like her. I'm not going to kill her.
Yeah.
But because they've committed so many crimes along the way of like stealing cars or robbing people or whatnot, kind of like a Bonnie and Clyde type runaway type story.
And like Ireland or something?
Yeah. Sort of the law catches up with them, and they're both running away. They capture the girl, and as the guy's running away, they cut to black as you hear the gunshot.
Oh, damn.
And I'm like, really? We're still doing this in modern day cinema? You want to do the gunshot, cut to black, we don't know what happens next? Like, seriously? In season 2, they're like, okay, well, he got shot, but he didn't die. And he comes back, and they meet up again, and there's a big, like, she gets married, and there's a lot of time that passes.
Oh, really?
But she leaves her husband to run off with him again. But what I will say is that the second season ended much better. It was more... Okay. It brought more closure. It brought a more fitting end.
Is it only the 2 seasons?
So far, yeah, I think there's only 2. I believe they're doing a third, but when it first came out, there was only the 1 season. Yeah. So we watched the whole thing, and we were like, oh, this show's kind of interesting. And at the last cut to black, I was like, really? You want to end it like that? And after watching the second season, I was like, that was better.
Okay.
They probably... There were a million people like me that said the same thing. That was a cheesy, cliche, cliffhanger ending. That it made much more sense to end on a moment of closure. Okay. So
now that you say, like, this isn't the thing I'm gonna finish out on. I'm gonna try and rewatch Lucifer.
Okay.
Because I was like, all right.
I know you like that show.
I do enjoy it. Like, there's just some of the characters. I'm like, they're cool. I dig it. But like season 1, season 2, okay, that's good. Season 3 is like, what the hell just happened?
Literally.
Season 4, it's like, oh, actually, like when it hits Netflix and they start making, I'm like, oh wow, they actually like pulled out the stops and stuff. That's awesome. And I'm fairly interested in seeing how that one goes because. They could stop on season 4 and it would be like a perfect ending. I'm like, okay, season...
I thought the same way about Breaking Bad.
Yeah. And like season 5. Okay, let's see what you got. But no, what I'm going to finish out on is I watched The Boys again. Because I am so freaking... I like this show a lot. I like it more than the comic. This is like one of those legit adaptations are better than the books.
Oh, wow.
Like,
That's high praise.
I'm going to go there and say that because... Okay. And like this is from a video I would have made, but I didn't know how to tackle it properly.
Okay.
But like, my main gripe with the comic, and I still like the comic, but then again, I always have really conflicted feelings about Garth Ennis, that particular writer, as a writer, because when he's good at something, he is freaking great. I love it. His characters are really human. They have dimensions. They are just some of them can be really likable.
Yeah.
But when he gets... His biggest problem is that he gets in the way of himself. So, like, One of my main problems with the comic going to the show is that if Garth had waited like 5 years, right, to make this series, then everything would have been totally different. Because as it stands, The Boys as a comic is more of an indictment of not just like, all kinds of weird corporate BS, which, okay, fair, I can understand that. That's timeless.
Social commentary
On that, but also just kind of, it's a bunch of really weirdly put together and lazy take that's at like mainstream comics like DC and Marvel, and it's not put together well.
Okay.
Like, one could easily make a case of why someone like Batman is not a great, is not a logistical character, right?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Or Superman or anything like that.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do that.
Right.
And the problem with it is that the world that he's built is fundamentally broken, and just so he can say things like, hey, superheroes are kind of stupid. It's like, hey, you're kind of ignoring a bunch of stuff right now.
Right. Well, I mean, there's it's a expression as old as time as like exaggerating stories so that we can think more deeply about reality. That's what Twilight Zone, Black Mirror.
Yes.
They're not predictions.
No.
They're not saying this is what the future will be like. They're exaggerating a scenario so that you think differently about our current scenario. A great example.
That's the thing. So the show actually manages that.
Okay.
Because the show, like, keep in mind, I'm not going to say like post MCU world, because that feels like the most hipster thing I could say, and I would actually stab myself in the balls. But we live in a world that now has multiple film franchises built around a shared universe of comic book characters.
Right.
Okay. That wasn't quite the case when The Boys as a comic was being made, but now that it is, we actually have a social commentary about like the celebrity lifestyle, what it does, and not only that, but these characters, who it's made very explicitly clear, they don't do anything in universe in the comics.
Right.
All they do is sit as they do publicity stunts. They sit aside. Sometimes they get involved in stuff with disastrous effects.
Yeah.
And they just soak up revenue from advertising, basically. But in the show, they actually have like a team that, they have satellite arrays that track crime, and they have good, thoroughly vetted sources that are law enforcement, so they can go out, do a publicity stunt, bust some drug dealers, what have you.
Yeah.
And they actually do a good job of being like, hey, this is how it works, and this is how we're dissecting it. Because, again, the core concept of these superheroes that people look up to are just terrible sociopaths.
Yeah.
It's still there. But the guy who made it, Eric Kripke from like Supernatural and some other stuff, he's just a freaking genius. I had to contain myself there.
Yes.
There's no other.
He's good.
Some things just are the best modifier, and that's one of them. But I'm very excited for season 2, and I already know. All right.
Okay.
Because there were people who were freaking out. Because, there's one character that they revealed for season 2. She is called Stormfront. And people are already dragging the show and just, getting their hopes down because they're like, oh god, the actress said that she's going to be like some kind of uber strong feminist, right? Here's the thing. In The Boys, the comic, Stormfront was a legit Nazi.
Oh, jeez.
Okay? He was Garth, and this is his way of having...
That's not good.
Yeah. He was of being take that against Shazam, Captain Marvel of all things.
Yeah. By
having him just, same costume, be an actual Nazi from World War II era, hasn't aged. And all I can think of right now is the idea that they're going to pull the rug out from under us. And they're going to be like, oh, all the publicity stuff in universe is going to be like, oh, Stormfront, she's so strong, but in a closet space, she's like got a Hitler poster up. It's like, Heil! I'm like, oh my god, do it! Do it!
So you think that could be where they take it?
I think that's a very I might be just getting my own hopes up because I would love Eric Kripke to pull the rug out from everyone and be just like, I knew it.
Well, that's odd that they're choosing to make it a that angle, and they chose that character of all characters.
It'd be so perfect.
Yeah,
it'd be great. Think about this, man. A literal feminazi. I can't contain myself right now. This is genius. You want to talk about satirizing something and commenting on something socially? Oh my god!
That reminds me, I've been watching a lot of Supergirl. Dan's favorite show.
Yes! Not Batwoman?
No. And this channel's all-time best performing video.
Oh, that's right.
We're about to cross 100,000 views.
Oh god.
On the Supergirl video. You need to just keep talking about Supergirl.
I know. Maybe I'll do something like, I don't know, drunk watching Batwoman or something.
You need your own Plinkett version of Supergirl review. You just go through every episode, because that's all this channel wants now.
That's all it wants. Drag the feminist! Okay!
Well, that's all I had on my list anymore.
I think that's about as far as I can go.
All right, folks. I think we gave you plenty of crap to watch.
Yes. Go forth. Enjoy the spoils of yonder quarantine.
Yeah. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And
Hydrate.
We'll make more videos when we actually see some more movies. All right.
All right.
Take care, everyone.
Have a
Bye.
good one.